Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. We have two American bourbon whiskeys. The first one is Jim Beam Black Sour Mash Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, aged 8 years, 86 proof. Introduced in 1992, but replaced in 2015 by the new Jim Beam Black Extra Aged with the no age statement. So this was a bottle I found at International Market in Metairie, Louisiana. And this handle bottle was $32.99. I checked Total Wine today. The price for the new Jim Beam, I say new, 8 years old. The current Jim Beam Black Extra Age handle, $32.99. Same price. All right, so that's cool. I got that bottle. The competitor is Kings County Distillery Peated Bourbon Whiskey, 45% alcohol, 750 milliliter bottle. This is around about $38. Thank you, David. He got this for me as a Christmas gift a few years ago. Cool gift. Don't know why it's not listed as straight bourbon. I think maybe the company was worried that if they use peated malt from Scotland, that it would disqualify it, but it wouldn't. It would not. As long as you, it could be straight bourbon as long as you distill it in New York. If you blend it with other New York bourbons, fine. It just has to all come from New York State. Age at least 2 years in new charred oak barrels. No coloring or flavoring added. So I don't know, something disqualified it, or they just wanted to be careful that they didn't violate the rules. The original peated bourbon, it says, aged 2 years or more. Yeah. Okie doke. Then there's a little booklet on the side, little brochure about taking tours there. Fell off. All right, get that water out of that glass. It's not that tight. I'm just having trouble getting a grip. My hands are kind of dry. All right, there we go. There we go. Real particle board cork. As you can see, not focusing. That should be enough. And that'll leave me enough for 2 more taste challenges at least, I would think. Famous for quality, Jim Beam, 8 year. Straight bourbon. It's got no coloring, no flavoring added. So if you see straight bourbon, you're safe from that. Some people don't care if it's got coloring or flavoring, as long as it tastes good. But I'm just saying, if you're particular about that'll guard you from that. Sour mash bourbon, aged 8 years. Max Walt says, hello, Ronald. Hello to you, Mr. R. Morning. You recording any beer reviews later today? Probably. I recorded one earlier this morning, which was, it won't be posted for a while, but it was St. Arnold Christmas beer. Funny thing was, I said, man, it's been like about 3 or 4 years since I reviewed St. Arnold Christmas beer. As it turns out, it had been 12 years. Now, the Kings County is darker. You might notice that it's darker. So it had been 12 years since I did a review of St. Arnold Ye Old. It's called St. Arnold Ye Old Christmas Ale. I said, man, time flies. It literally seemed like it had been 3 years since I tried it. It's still awesome like it was 12 years ago. 95 out of 100, solid A. I don't remember what I gave it, 2011, but I know it was high. It seemed like they changed the recipe a little bit. It's higher alcohol now, 7.2 as opposed to 7.2. Yeah. Great beer, $9.99 a 6-pack. Craft beer from Texas, $9.99. Yeah. Good morning, Ron, says Joe Cobb. Morning to you, and I believe you're in Canada. Somebody gave me 2 beers yesterday from Parish Brewing called Lev Dream. Lev is from Parish Brewing, and it's a stout, and they use Lev coffee. It's expensive bouquet gourmet coffee, in it, and it's a great stout. So I might do a revisit. It's been about 5 years since I did a solo of that one. Yep, true story. It's a good one though, boy. Hard to find, I guess. Some people get Parish Ghost in the Machine, but other Parish beers they don't seem to get. Ben taking a break from spirits, might go buy some Lesage Polish beer later today after I finish chores. Got to get something done before I start drinking. Good idea to get your chores done. I am going. The plan is it's already scheduled to post, so it should automatically post. Tomorrow I should have a beer posted early morning, very early, overnight, really, very early in the morning. But it's called Karpacki Extra Mocny, and it's a 9% Polish beer. When I did the video, I didn't like it at first. I gave it a C-. I said this beer is nearly bad. It was too metallic, and I was like, oh man, this thing is a mess. And it was cold because I had gone right down the street to the grocery store in London, and it was 32 degrees walking back, so I knew it didn't warm up in the freezing weather. And I ate the tuna and cheese sandwich on the way back, but I didn't know what it was. It just tasted bad, and it didn't taste good. And then, funny thing about this strong lager, as it warmed up and I sipped on it, it tasted better. You believe that? Usually it's the opposite. If a strong lager, a super, they call them super lagers in England, 9%. If it gets warmer, it gets worse. This one got better. So I'm going to have to put a notice as I drank this. It improved considerably, and it went up to a B, Karpacki. And I would definitely drink that again. That was the strongest beer I could find in Asiatic supermarket. Asiatic Superstore. It's called Asiatic Superstore on Bath Road. In the area called Hounslow West, London, England. Real nice store, neat, well maintained, and looked like the guy running it is a Sikh. And I asked him, do you have any breakfast food? And he said, this is like a 7:55 a.m. He said, we have some sandwiches in the cooler. So I got the tuna and cheese sandwich, and then I found the strongest beer he had, the Karpacki. And right around 8, maybe just 2 minutes before, he rang it up, got it. They had a good amount of other strong beers, 8.5s, Carlsberg Super Brew, but it was only 7.5. I want the Carlsberg 10%, the Super Brew 10%. I didn't want the watered down 8.5%. They had Skol Super 8.5, and I'm sure that was good because I had the regular Skol, the Skol International 4.6 when I was in Spanish Africa, and that was great. But I couldn't drink all of these. I'm about to go to the airport. I wanted to be in my right head, especially have to go through check-in, security and all. So I said, well, 1.9% would be enough. And that was 500 milliliters that I worked out fine. Am I a fan of meads? I'm not a fan of meads, but I've tried them, 1 or 2. They were all right. I wouldn't be running to buy them. They're too expensive here anyway. The weather is in the 50s and damp. It's not raining, but it's just damp. The humidity is high and it's very cloudy. Maxwell says, have you been to the 9/11 Twin Towers Monument? I might have passed in front of it. I went to the new World Trade Center, the real tall building. It looks okay. It's not this looking building. It's like some kid built it. You know, it's like all jangled at the top. Doesn't look nearly as nice as the original Twin Towers, but I mean, it's okay. That's all I can say about it. It's all right. I didn't go to the top and look out of it because I didn't want to waste the time to do that. And secondly, it was too expensive. And thirdly, I was standing on the street. I could see the top. No need to go up there so I could see down on it. But, you know, you get a big panoramic view. I know. But that's all right. I've had those experiences. I went on top of the mountain in Spanish Africa and and I could see across the bay to what you call Morocco. Went up on the side of the mountain in Gibraltar, could see across the bay to Algeciras. It was very pretty. Okay. Okay, I'm smelling peat, and I'm not smelling peat. I've never smelled smoky peat in a scotch. I mean, in a scotch. Of course, I haven't those. And in bourbon. So I think that must be the Kings County. Well, let's taste it. I want to be sure, but I'm pretty sure. Let's taste. Cheers. Yeah. Smoky peated malt. Peat. Smoke. It's sort of like, if you like smoky products, you'll like this. They say it's a hybrid. It's a bourbon that's going to have a Scotch character. Nice, nice, nice. I bet Jim Beam 8 Year takes the win. Well, we'll see about that. Medium body. We'll see dry finish. Booze across the board because it's 90 proof. It's really nice. I love the peatiness. Love the peatiness. But I like smoked products. You know, I like the Rauch beers, smoked pork, smoked sausage of any sort, smoked turkey. You know, I just like it. Other people don't. And that's fine too. Yeah, typical Kentucky bourbon over here. Sweet candy corn, or that, you know, like you buy the corn in the box, you know, the popcorn, like the what they call it, the fiddle faddle or the crunch and munch. Well, not with peanuts, but that kind of caramel colored covered corn, a little bit of honeysuckle nectar. It's hard to describe how the sour mash improves it, but it does. It's sort of like kind of like a sourdough bagel type experience. It's hard to describe, but it's there. You can feel it. Now, you could make the argument watching this video and say, why would you even bring that into a taste challenge? It's not in production. It's been out of production for 8 years. It's been replaced by Jim Beam Black Extra Age. So what's the point? Yeah, well, that's a very good point. But, and this is an important counterpoint. My counterpoint is this. This says L90160. I don't know. It might be from 2009. My point is, yeah, but you can still get it. That's the thing. I can still buy it. Okay. I can still get it. So if it's on the shelves, and I don't mean one lonely bottle forgotten on the shelf, like with that Calvert Extra that I found. No. Which was a good find. No, it's in multiple bottles. They have probably 7 or 8 regular bottles and probably 3 or 4 of these handles. Okay, so it's not limited to just some relics. It's on the shelf. Now it's mixed in with the current version, almost like they don't realize it's two different products, but that's cool too because, and it's the same price. They're all the same price. This one, I'm gluing this back because it's peeling off from age. I'm gonna hold it down. So do I plan to get the extra age black, the new version from 8 years ago? I do plan to get it, and I want to get it, but I do also have to consider that I have so many bourbons on the shelf that that probably needs to wait. Not forever, but and that just might be the next bourbon I buy. That'd be a good idea, huh? But but yeah, um, you go and look in the other room on my shelf, you'll be telling me, hey, you might want to cool it on the bourbon purchases for a little while. And my answer would be, I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Okay, so it looks like on the bottleneck, is that a scuff mark or is that actual mold? It's just a scuff mark on the outside. Something like chipped it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Beam, Claremont, in Frankfort, Kentucky. It's not really an old classic because the whole thing has only been on the market 31 years. 31 years of any variation for it. I'm gonna put some black ink on the back where it got bent up, make it look nicer. Shouldn't show up in the videos as that. So yeah, nice looking bottle. Nice looking bottle. Oh yeah, who wins? Well, funny thing, I didn't even determine if I had it right. So I'm saying this is the peated. Yeah, no doubt. Was it a fair taste challenge? It was fair because they're both bourbons. They're both similar alcohol level, 45% versus 43. Not a big difference. They're both from the United States. Now they just constructed differently. That one is a 2 year age, low age, right? Peated bourbon using peated malt from Scotland. That's allowed. I told you that's allowed. This one is a traditional style Kentucky straight sour mash bourbon whiskey. Well, it's kind of out of the picture there. So yeah. I do like the smoked one better because I like that little gimmick twang thing, whatever you want to call it. Is it a traditional style? No, clearly not. Is it sort of a gimmick? Yeah, obviously so. Do I like it? I surely do. But I love the Jim Beam Black too. I would never say anything bad about it. Now, if the Jim Beam company did something that was, I thought, bad or foolish, yeah, I'd talk about that. I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about the product. The product is ideal. And I really don't see how somebody could drink that and then talk about how nasty and horrible it is. I don't see how they could do that with regular Jim Beam, but they got the haters out there. They're like on a Jim Beam anger management program all the time. I mean, they worry about Jim Beam so much they go to counseling, and I don't get that, but that's the way it is. And don't even say Jack Daniels. They'll really have a breakdown. Have to go back to the place where you can't leave without getting signed out. They'll really lose it then. But I like them both. But I was a fan of the Jim Beam 8 year. Says Omar. Yeah, it's good, and you can still, like I said, you can still find it. I know where to find it, so that's a thing. Now, last call in the Jim Beam 8 year. Am I sorry that they stopped selling it? I can't say I'm sorry because I don't know what the reasoning was behind it, and I don't know what the new one tastes like. It might be just as good. I doubt it's better, but whatever. But it's probably very similar, maybe indistinguishable. I don't know. I don't comment on things I don't know about, unless I tell you I don't know. That's a comment, I guess. I don't know. when I was on the tour in 2017 at Jack Daniel's Distillery, the man explained why they don't put an age statement. He said it was a tax issue. He said he was working there since he was 18. The guy was like 40 years old. He said, look, now you said, well, he could be wrong. These tour guys don't know what they're talking about. I know that, but he seemed to know what he was talking about. He said, look, we don't give an age statement on Jack Daniels, all right? Because we don't want to pay the tax on it. He said, but all I'm going to tell you is that it's aged at least 4 years, but that's not an official age statement. Now, you could take that any way you want to take it, which obviously anybody with a brain would know he's meaning it's a 4-year age bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, but they're not going to officially say that due to not wanting to pay that. And they're not going to pay the tax. Okay, they're going to pass it to you. So if the tax is $1 a bottle, you're just going to pay $1 more for a bottle. They're not paying it. See, that's what most Americans don't understand. If somebody taxes the rich, they're not taxing the rich. They're taxing you. They're just going to pass it on to you. This is basic science. Okay, and I don't understand why people can't grasp that. They'll say, yeah, well, where I live, the minimum wage was increased 23% last year. We got the highest minimum wage in the country. And I'm like, yeah, but you got the highest prices in the country. And I try to explain that to them. How did that help you when the minimum wage was increased 23% and all the prices went up 23%? You know, explain that to me. Tell me how that benefits anyone. You used to make 85 cents and you bought a donut for 85 cents. Now you make $1.25 and you pay $1.25 for a donut. But you think you're ahead, but you're not. But I guess people are dupes, D-U-P-E-S, dupes. I'm not a dupe. And I don't intend to be one. Okay, do you celebrate Christmas, says Mr. R? I don't know why that's being asked relative to bourbon. I do celebrate Christmas like most Americans. Okay, I do want to be president. I would like to be elected president in 2024, but I don't have the political support and I don't have the money to do it. Otherwise, I'd probably do a great job. Not because of me, mainly because of the policies that I adopt. See, it's a policy issue, really. Always with me, it's a policy issue. People will say, you don't like that guy. You got something against him. I say, it's not personal. It's a policy issue. Which is another thing people seem to be aloof to. Okay, anyway, no problem with Jim Beam at all. No problem. I love it. I would recommend it, and I'd buy it again, theoretically, at least, hypothetically. So I'm going to say I prefer the smoky one, however, and I was able to tell them apart, and that's all I can say about it. All right, thank you for watching.